Boo! What's up, jobbers, and welcome to the latest edition of the Jobber Knocker podcast. As always, is Nestlemania alongside for the ride is a man that has all dick in his promo and not a lot of dick in his jorts, JC.
Luckily, I haven't worn jorts since I was a teenager. But Nestlemania, before we start, I do have to make an announcement. It is a sad day here on April 1st, 2025, that I am announcing my resignation from the Jobber Knocker podcast. This will be my last episode ever. So a moment of silence. April Fools, because I told you the date. You knew it was coming. But yeah, Nestlemania, it's April Fool's Day, which is a stupid fucking day. And yeah, I have a lot more not in my jorts than I do everywhere else. That is an accurate statement, even though my name currently says El Grande Americano.
Well, he's grande with his opinions, at least. And that's fine. That's fine. Anyway, yes, we I thought about this. Our boy Trav, the original intern, said to me, on an April Fool's Day, you should just do something completely different. Like talk about something completely different. No wrestling, nothing. Just do something else. And I was like,
welcome to the Yarn Spinning Podcast. I'm your host, JC. Along for the ride is Nestlemania, where we talk about, you guessed it, spinning yarn like a goddamn cat.
Can we get into a little bit of needlepoint while we're here? Just do a little bit of crocheting, perhaps. I don't know. It's interesting.
Have you ever crocheted before?
No, but what's funny? I was watching. Well, my kids were watching a YouTube video, and all of a sudden, an app popped up, like an ad for an app about how to teach kids how to crochet. And I was like, "Are you turning toddlers into grannies and like crocheting this early?" But whatever.
I crocheted something before. We had to do it in like school, and I actually
It's therapeutic for sure.
I didn't hate it, but that's the only time I've done it, and I'm probably never going to do it again.
Okay, that's fine. Anyway, we really should be talking about wrestling on the wrestling podcast. We can get back into crocheting another time, perhaps, unless people tell us. Anyway, we always start in the shine, so I will let you start off in the positivity direction.
We do, Nestlemania, always in the shine, much like AEW. We're going to preview Dynasty right off the rip because, nope, got you again. April Fools, fuck that shit. We're doing that garbage at the end like we always do because Nestlemania, like you said, we start with the best things of the week. And, man, my Cody boner's off the charts because obviously we had Cody and Cena on Monday, but I want to start on Friday just to kind of go in order here. But my Cody and Randy boner, every time it happens, like you talk about, that's the only time the measures up in my jorts is when those two are in the ring together. Obviously, you knew when they were at the O2 wherever they were that Cody entrance was going to be amazing. The Randy entrance was amazing when he came out and was serenaded as well. But we have been a lot with Randy and Cody. Randy kind of hyping him up because that's his boy. That's his protege. So he surpassed him. The crowd loved Cody so much. The Cody Rhodes. I was tearing up a little bit for this one because this one was hitting me all in the feels because Randy was laying it on thick. But then Randy, he's like, you know what? I know Cena's doing his thing, but he's like, the day will come where I'm looking myself for number 15. But look it, man. I'm going to look you in the eye and tell you I'm not going to be a little bitch like Cena. And so it's just like, boom. I can't wait for it to happen. It's going to happen at some point. But then Nestlemania, the segment wasn't over because out comes the hometown-ish boy, Drew McIntyre. And yeah, they had a match later and KO got involved, like whatever. But I thought this was a hot way to start the weekend. And I was expecting this to be my favorite segment of the week until Monday happened.
Monday had a couple doozies, I'll be honest with you. Just in general. But yeah, I mean, it was great to see Cody doing his thing with Randy Orton. I'm surprised. Maybe I'm not surprised that you started off with this, but I did love.
I'm just going in order, bro.
No, it's fine. Whatever. It's fine. It is what it is. It is what it is. But it does lead to a lot of different things. We can talk about what happens with Cena, I'm assuming, relatively soon. But thinking about Randy Orton and Cena is very interesting, just based on the amount of times they faced each other over the years. And they're going to do it at least one more time, you would think. So it leads a door open here, one way or another.
Also, that to me, because I think I've been pretty consistent saying I think Cody's going to retain against Cena because I think the money is in Cena doing it as a babyface. And the more as I spin this forward, one of the people that I would possibly like to see possibly either defeat Cody or then maybe defeat Drew after Drew, if Drew's want to beat Cody, Randy would make a lot of sense. And Randy getting number 15 and Cena's last match being against the guy he faced the most, arguably like one of his biggest rivals, and Randy Orton for the title. That's kind of intriguing to me now that I'm thinking of it. So I think you're right. Now that could be the one, like that feels like it really could be the finale, the swan song for Cena. So that's something to look for down the road, but it certainly will be interesting. But Nestlemania, like you said I was surprised. You were surprised I start there, but I want to ease us in because The big segment happened on Monday, Nestlemania. Once again, it was is this part 3 or 4 of the
This is part 3.
Part 3. And I've told you from the beginning, I'm like, be patient because they're giving us a little bit and a little bit because we have several weeks of this. And we want to build it up slow. But this week, Nestlemania, we hit the peak because I don't know if it can go better than it did on Monday because Cena came at him with what we expected Cena to come at him. And we're like, oh, fuck. Cody, you better be ready. And by God, Nestlemania, my boy was ready. Because it's one of those things, man. Whether you think Cena was better, whether you think Cody was better, that was a generational type back and forth. And I thought if you weren't sold on this match before, you have to be now. But it's like, this is why these two guys, this is why this is really a passing of the torch thing, no matter who wins, because it's like Cena had something that you can't teach. Cody always had it. It just took him a long time to find it. But once he found it, we've seen it. And there aren't many guys that reach the level that will ever reach the level of what these two guys have accomplished in terms of their peaks. So, and I think this promo kind of showed it because I think it accentuated what could be their weaknesses, but it immediately turns it into strengths. And obviously you referenced one of the Cody one-liners earlier, but he was ready, man. He was ready because that was always the worry with all of us because we know with Cena, when he turns it on, man, it is hard to match him. It is hard to match him. And I thought Cody held his own, and I thought this was one of the better promo segments we've had in years.
Stoops in the house just saying really quickly he doesn't like that Raw starts before 8 p.m. and should be illegal. I like that it starts early because I don't want to stay up late. I'll be honest. So
well, it's kind of cool because it's one of those things like I haven't really watched them live, but it's kind of cool to being able to start it when you want and just kind of whatever. And, you know, you just got to stay off the internet to avoid the spoilers, but yeah, it's you don't have to worry about that anymore, Stu, because I believe they're Minnesota next week, the home of Chad Gable, even though they won't be wrestling.
Minnesota. Anyway, there are a lot of things I want to unpack here with the Cena and the Rhodes. Cena in the Rhodes. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I did love like just taking us through the entire things that I thought were just really important here. Was that like, that's right, you're my chauffeur. Like you're upset that my chauffeur is going to main event WrestleMania. Like I thought that was a nice little touch. I love the Stardust. I love the lisp, the arm tattoo that's on my neck. I thought that was funny. The one thing I was just like, okay, so it happens and Cena, undresses, or I forget how it went back and forth. There was definitely a back and forth there, but it was like they let Cody swear. And he said some shit, like you're a piece of shit. You got, more dick in your promo than you do in your jorts, which I think that's fine and whatever. And Cena doesn't do that. And I think if you look at it from a perspective of what was supposed to happen, it was like, I'm not going to, it's like, oh, Cena does this to people. No, I don't bury talent. I am the talent. I thought that was a nice, like they're falling into what people have talked about. Like you've said, like they are playing to what everybody on the internet says about them, which I thought was a really nice touch. There was a point in that promo, at least for me as a viewer, and I think it was like a nice little roller coaster for me, was there was a point in that promo where the crowd kind of started turning on Cody just a little bit. And I was just like, the forever wrestling fan to me was like, oh, here we go. He fucked him over. And it's not like I didn't think Cody had something in the bag. I was just thinking to myself, does he have something strong enough to come back with? Because like anybody can come back with anything. It's just like, is it worth it? Is it better? Is it greater than or equal to? It was definitely greater than, which I was very surprised to see, which I thought was wonderful. The I make empires for billionaires. We can't talk about the billionaire anymore. Like there were so many things that happened. But the one thing that really kind of stuck with me was the ending, which was, well, you can say whatever you want, but at least nobody's ever said I can't wrestle. And I was just like, for that to be the exclamation point really is interesting to me. That was the tipping point of it all. Because, you've heard Cena can't wrestle and all that stuff over the years. He doesn't really have to wrestle. We know he can wrestle. But I'm just curious your thoughts on it, because I feel like it was a good ending. I like that the crossroads happened. But there were a couple of things in here that I was kind of wondering about as the weeks go on. And I'm curious what your thoughts are about the ending of it.
Well, I want to go back to the crowd thing quickly because I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was so beautifully done. And that's what I think elevated this promo beyond like your stereotypical back and forth between two guys who are just great on the mic. It's because it was like perfectly designed, being like, we're going to let Cena spit. And we know he's going to be so good that the crowd is going to have no choice but to be behind him because he's fucking John Cena. And this is what we've been waiting for forever. And of course he's making sense. But it's like, we can do that because we know what Cody's about to bring is going to bring it right back. And that's why it did to me, like, this segment separated itself from so many of the other great promo segments. Like, because we come on here all the time. Like, both of us love promo. So when there's a good promo, like, we love it. But I thought that just separated this because that is such a difficult thing to do. And it's like, you not only need perfect execution from both guys in the ring, this has to be thought out well by the people who like help them write and come up with this stuff. And I thought it just like was perfect. To get into your thing about the wrestling thing at the end, I think that was just like an easy way to kind of like end it because they've already thrown like a lot of their best stuff. But it was like Cody has one more in the bag. And you know it's something that just bothers Cena, even when he's being super serious. Those are always chances that you could tell bothered him a little because obviously the guy can wrestle. Is he the best wrestler? Of course not. But it's something that like would get to him. And I think Cody, you always want the baby face to like be able to have the little bit of the edge and like get the little bit of the one up here. That's why I think like you mentioned Cody swearing. I think like that it's more effective when a baby face does that. So if like Cena did it, wouldn't be as effective, but Cody doing it, Milky White Cody, when he does it, he doesn't do it a lot. It like makes more of an impact. But I did kind of like the way it ended because it got the crowd fully where it needed to go. And it also gave Cena the motivation to finally do another dastardly thing because he's held off the last couple weeks, but he tried the cheap shot. Cody obviously was ready for it because got me once, you're not going to get me again. Crossroads, like you said, because it was one of those things like I would have been fine with no physicality to WrestleMania, but this wasn't much, but this was a little taste. And I don't mind like the little taste because I don't think it gave much away for a guy to go for a cheap shot, immediately get hit into a finisher. Like that's just like, it's just a little taste and a little extra exclamation point beyond what they did. So it's just like, I think it's going to be interesting to see what we have in the however many Raws we have left at this point. What is it? Two Raws left. And I mean, I don't even know if Cena's going to be on them, but
nope.
I think this was a nice way to kind of wrap up this 3-week story that they've been bringing us on. And I thought they just executed it so well. I've watched it several times because it's just good television.
I will say the one thing that really sort of bothered me was they kind of mentioned The Rock. They kind of didn't, which leaves the door open for the next 2 weeks, we would assume, at least on a Monday or a Friday, because otherwise Cody's going to be on both shows, you would think, to kind of maximize the minutes there. I don't know. We'll see. But my thought is if Cena doesn't make an appearance between now and WrestleMania, there are a couple of things in my thought process here. The Rock has to show up, you would think, right? The other thing is if we got 2 weeks, right? And the last thing we see of Cena is taking a Crossroads. My logic brain goes into babyface stood tall. That's going to be real difficult going into WrestleMania if that's the last we see of John Cena to go get, not get a victory. Like your head is, whoever stands tall previously ends up probably losing most of the time, like 90% of the time. Not all the time, obviously.
He's got to be on SmackDown, I would think. Like, if he's on the next 2 Raws, you got to feel like, I mean, that's where that title's from, is SmackDown. So I feel like one of these SmackDowns he's got to be on.
Okay. I just feel like if we don't see him for like 4 shows,
I agree. It would be weird. And I do think we need a Rock appearance, and I'm sure we'll get one because there has to be some sort of more interaction with Rock and Cody, even if it's just a little quick one. It feels like we need a little bit of something, especially if Cena's not going to be there. But
anything else you want to talk about this, or you want to move on?
We could probably move on from this because, I know our boy Ray wanted us to have a big debate about who did better in the promo, but I'm sorry, Ray, to disappoint you, but I thought this was just so well done by both guys. I don't feel the need to pick a winner because this thing was fucking beautiful, and I thought they both did exactly what they had to do.
I don't think you can pick a winner. I know the people are a lot of fence sitters here. I mean, if I had to pick, obviously you would pick Cody and I would pick Cena, so that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, the poll that you put out I was surprised.
Landslide for Cody.
Which, I mean, I think you kind of have to go that way, but it's also like, obviously it was designed to go that way for him a little bit too. That's why I think it's hard to have the debate. I mean, but they both just did exactly what they had to do perfectly. That's the thing. It's just like, I can't pick a weakness in either guy in a segment.
I think for me, if I had to nitpick, I would say John Cena is playing a character. So when Cody's going after him, it feels like it doesn't really ruin the integrity of John Cena. But when Cena spits sometimes, I feel like to his detriment, or at least the person he's in the ring with detriment, he goes too hard in the paint and says some things you're like, yeah, that is kind of right. And so like there were a lot of truths there that I felt like the only thing I can compare it to, and it's not necessarily fair, it's just it's not close, it's just adjacent. So I want to make sure I make that clear when I say this. When he was dressing down Austin Theory before WrestleMania 39, and he was like, dude, even if you win or lose, you still got to come out on Monday without me and prove something, which I thought was really shitty of him to say. Like, I know what John Cena was trying to say, but I don't think John Cena, in my opinion, did the maximizing to help Austin Theory, in my opinion. He
rocked him a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that wasn't necessarily fair to Austin Theory, which, maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe that's part of like grow up and, deep end it. But I don't know. I just felt like there was a portion of that when he was talking to Cody, and Cody did recover and did perfectly fine. But I just felt like there's a side to Cena every once in a while where I'm just like, what is the positive that comes out of saying that? Like in my head as I'm watching it. So I feel like if you wanted to say who landed more punches, I'd say Cena, but I wouldn't say who landed more like blows would be Cody. Like more impactful blows were Cody, but the amount of punches in a boxing match was Cena. So I feel like you just go to the scores card here. You know what I mean? Like nobody got knocked out here.
The problem is, you're supposed to score on damage, but it doesn't always go that way. But I will say, because the first thing you said when you started that argument, I think is the most important thing that you said, is that you said Cena's playing a character.
Right.
Cody's, obviously he's playing a turned up character, but Cody's pretty much himself. Like this American Nightmare character, like it's the way he lives his life, especially as a baby face. Like it has to be somewhat genuine to be. That's why it's so believable, because it's Cody's story. Like, although it was a story, it was still so very real, like his whole journey back here and all this. So to do that, he literally had to be himself. He had to be Dusty's son. He had to be the kid who failed and wasn't good enough and had to leave, like the real life thing. So to your point, when Cena's taking jabs at Cody, like, yes, it's more real because it's literally real about Cody. Whereas when Cody's jabbing at Cena, it's like we know Cena is still an incredible human. He's just playing this character right now. So I think that when you said that, I think that was the best. The best point is that, yes. So it even more like honestly seems that it's just like I'm more impressed with how Cody was able to handle it, because he had like there's so much stacked against the babyface in situations like that. So,
and I will say, we expect it out of Cena, right? Like when we hear
this was Cody's like. Prove it, because like we've seen you've held your own with other guys, but it's like Cena's Cena, man. Like he is the GOAT. So
when I think the other thing is I was waiting for fine speech. Once I hear fine speech, I'm like, oh, it's over. But we didn't get a fine speech, and I thought Cody just kind of landed punches. I do agree with what John Cena said, though, which was a lot of truth here, is that Cody is protected in a lot of ways.
So was Cena, he would know.
No, I know, but it's just funny to me. It was just like pot me kettle, but it was just so funny to me because it was just like, of course the babyface gets to swear. Of course he gets to do it. Like, it was just interesting, the tropes that they were saying and then things that were unfolding. It was just kind of interesting to me. But overall, I would say, like I said to Josh or JC, excuse me, who the fuck is Josh?
Hello?
It did feel like that, like I said, more punches by Cena, more heavy blows by Cody. That's really the only way I can describe it.
So in a UFC fight, you would give a split decision victory to Cody.
Cody Rhodes.
They judge on damage. They're supposed to judge on damage. They don't always. Believe me, that's why there's a lot of bad decisions.
And I'm not counting the finish with the crossroads because I feel like that's not fair. That's not fair in terms of damage because that
was like when my girl Eileen Perez twerks after the fight.
Exactly.
Like, well, definitely want to give it to her now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So and moving on, we should go on to something else.
Yes, we should move on Nestlemania, and you know what? We'll get to some matches, but. You want to talk about AJ Styles and Logan Paul?
Sure. I mean, I'm excited for this matchup.
I am too.
I here's the thing. If I was booking this, and I'm not, obviously, but if I was, the finish to me, easily, is AJ's got him where he wants him. Phenomenal forearm, fucking flying through the air, knucks to the face. Boom, done. Beats AJ Styles in the middle of the ring. I think that is just, it adds to, I mean, the pulverizer move is cool.
Yeah,
cool shit. I don't think he's going to be able to do that to everybody, but probably most of them. But man, that like, it's a good looking move. I will say this much. And this is just from somebody that like, again, I watch wrestling differently for obvious reasons, from a production standpoint, but also from a wrestler standpoint and a production, like a promotional standpoint. I'm not saying that AJ Styles can't cut a promo. I think he can cut a pretty good promo. I wouldn't say great, but a pretty decent. He gets it by, passable.
As a babyface, he does struggle a little bit,
right? But there were portions of this promo which a lot of people either are not going to give credit to Logan Paul or they're just not looking for these sorts of things. But he was pacing himself and AJ Styles without people knowing at home. And he was, if people lost their train of thought, he was helping AJ Styles get his.
AJ said the wrong thing. It completely fucked him up.
Yeah.
But luckily, like Paul, like interjected and let the crowd boo him to take the attention off AJ till he could recompose himself.
Right. And he
like
did.
That was a kid doing something for a vet. Like you don't see
Yeah.
that a lot, but like that's why like Logan Paul is an A+ entertainer because he just gets that stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, it was so easy for him too. And I mean, like you can say whatever you want, athletic freak of nature, you know, pain in the ass, dickhead, douchebag, whatever. That can be his real persona or his persona in the ring. I don't really care. I'm sure there's a gray area. However, I will say there were certain things as a person who has bumped in the ring, got himself hurt, had to deal with people backstage. Like I've had to deal with a lot of stuff. When you appreciate people who are willing to do business and do it right, I just think that Logan Paul is in for the right reasons, doing what he's doing. And that to me was a very standout thing. So you cannot, I mean, you can boo him, you want whatever. But for me, boom, because you want him to make money. But I think in terms of the respect level, you need to respect Logan Paul because that right there is just next level. You cannot teach it Enzo Amore kind of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? That's just good business sense.
I guarantee you when they got to the back, AJ thanked him because it just like that was, like I said, like that was something you see from a veteran who's been cutting promos for 10 years and is working with a rookie who's struggling a little bit. Kind of the opposite of Charlotte and Stratton, as we've talked about previously. But it's just like, no, this is like the kid who's been in wrestling for a hot second, comes and goes as he likes, doing it with one of the most decorated wrestlers of all time. So it's just like, I thought that was cool because I noticed that immediately too. Like several times in this promo, just like I'm being like, Logan is carrying this and it's benefiting everyone. It's going to make Styles is already on such a level, but this is just like going to give him a nice peak here as we enter the tail end of his career. And I mean, these guys, like, you can tell, like, I don't know if Logan, like, actually, like, mapped his style off a guy like Styles, but the way he wrestles, he definitely has some AJ style type tendencies. You can tell, like, this is a guy he probably watched tape of when he learned stuff, obviously with some of the moves too, but it just, like, you know, they're going to have some really fun spots in this match. It is going to have all the gaga, and it's going to be one of those where I think we come out of WrestleMania weekend and we're going to be like, oh, yeah, that was really fun. I'll remember that's something I would want to rewatch, which is what we're hoping for when you have like 14 matches.
I will say this match, excuse me. This is where the Nestle curse comes in. When AJ Styles was interviewed and said one of his favorite matches was with Shane McMahon, and I forgot how good that match was because nobody had any business thinking that was going to be a decent match. And as he said that, I was just like, okay, well then in my head, I'm thinking, then this should be a match we should talk about when we're done, all said and done. I think we'll remember this one. I think for a good reason, I hope, but
absolutely,
who knows? Something I want to bring up because I feel like we're 24 minutes into this podcast and we have yet to bring this thing up. I mean, you want to talk about getting me rock hard solid. Gunther.
Oh man. Like, did he finally? It's one of those things because this feud has been a lot of like Gunther, like he's obviously a very good heel, but he doesn't ever feel the need like he has to take it to an extra level of violence. Like he does it in the ring but once it's done, it's all business, like whatever, because he has respect for the sport. But this was the first time we've seen in a Gunther feud, probably since NXT UK, where he is taking this personally. What he did to Jimmy Uso and the torment he put Jey Uso through, the psychology of this segment, where it just felt like it never ended. It felt like it went forever too. I was like, man, they fucking put Jimmy on a cross for Jey. They are literally doing everything they can to build up this moment for Jey and make him feel like he has no fucking shot. And like, man, Gunther is absolutely fucking cooking right now. Like in this segment, I mean, I don't know if you watch LFG yet, but he was on Sunday. He fucking cooked in that episode too. This was the week of Gunther. But man, the visual, I don't know if you saw the backstage promo after the exclusive where he's just covered in Jimmy's blood, cutting the promo. I was like, this is Gunther. Like it just, there's the levels of heel And he reached a different level of heel because it got personal for a guy who never really lets things get personal. And I'm like, they found a way to make this feud, which has been going forever, and they haven't really done a lot besides Jay yeeting. They took it to another level, and now it's like I'm even more interested than I was before.
I will say this much, as a huge Rocky Balboa fan, this felt like Rocky 4, just watching Rocky holding Apollo in his arms, and fucking Ivan Drago is just like, if he dies, he dies. And I was just like, there's obviously a lot of symmetry with whatever was going on there. You can say with the nationalities and stuff, but when I saw the visual of him trying to get away and stuck in the turnbuckle, trying to grab, and he called his brother like John and Josh,
John and Josh,
and it was just like, and they like, just, I always love that little additive, whatever. Blood's always helpful when it's done correctly. When it's group,
it's not overused.
Yes,
you don't see them poking themselves in the fucking head,
or taking a suplex to a bed of nails or whatever. That's a little too much for me. But you could tell that Jimmy was all in on this. He juiced up, and it was wonderful. And I just thought, like, even Gunther, I don't know if you heard this because the mics were kind of caught it, but he was like kicking Jimmy, and he looked at Jay and he goes, "Come on, you pussy!" And I was just like,
next level.
Christ.
He took it to another level.
Jesus Christ. Like, that to me is just like, I mean, I would think, right, that Jimmy has nothing to do with Mania now.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
Except for come out and celebrate with it.
Right. Yeah. But I was kind of hoping he'd be in the US title hunt, but that's beside the point. But Jay, like, in my head, I'm thinking, Jay, Slam Dunk still has to fucking win this thing. Otherwise, what the fuck are we doing?
Right.
But there's like a part of me that there's like a 10% part of my brain that's just like, but what if? Like, what if they're just like, nah, he's just a good chaser? Like, think about that. Like a Royal Rumble, 10 weeks
ago. Everything good we've said about him since the Rumble.
Yes.
And we both of us would immediately go back to what we said before.
If he does not win at Mania, that is like the nail in the coffin for me.
Yeah.
Like, and there's no excuse. There's no excuse here.
I don't see any way where he does. I would be way more stunned if he didn't win than almost any other result on this card.
You thought Cody was a shoe-in at 39, so it is what it is.
I did, but that one, it's like they're gonna have Jay win back-to-back Royal Rumble. No, I don't think so. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
With Cody, at least
there's a logic.
I hated that. I still will always hate that, but I eventually got it in a different way. But this one, I mean.
That was an all-time segment, I'd say top 25. For me, like, that was, and I know that's recent bias, and I understand, but like,
it was the best segment.
It's a visual. It's a visual for me.
Yeah,
and I'm hyperbolic.
Needed to really put it over the top. Like, they're done now. They're good. We thought they were done before, but no.
I don't know what you do for the next 2 weeks though. If you can do anything. I mean, it's not like Jay can get his hands on him, really.
Yeah, no, it's. I think it's. I mean, a lot of it, like, there'll be recaps. There might be like promos, like, separate, but I don't. I would think. I mean, what do they have 2 Raws left? So maybe maybe he gets a little comeuppance next week or something. Because the thing has been kind of like Gunther slithering around and getting the better of Jay this whole time. So maybe they just keep that going or something. But yeah, no, it's. I mean, it's. At this point, it's like, it doesn't matter. They could do the worst thing ever for the next 2 weeks. It doesn't matter. I'm still sold.
And they're not main eventing.
No, they're not. Should we talk about that?
Sure, let's go right in. That's what we call a transition.
Yeah.
A segue in the biz.
Yeah.
So, do we go to the contract signing? Is that where we start, you think?
I mean, that's where we found out that the night 1 main event is Roman, Seth, and Punk.
So I was a little shocked, I'll be honest, because there's the Roman Reigns getting a babyface reaction. Seth Rollins says the thing about, it's been wee, and then he, all the way home, and then he goes, and then Roman Reigns sitting back, relaxing, acting all cool, shooting some b-ball outside of school, saying stuff like, this is me. I've been doing it all along, and I'm like, ooh, like, I understand, and again, it goes back to the Cena thing. I understand you're playing a character, Roman Reigns. Sometimes you say that shit, and it's like, you didn't need to say that line.
No, see, in this situation, the only reason I like it is because Roman has always thought he's a little brother. And I truly believe in Triple H's vision, the reason why Cody lost the first time is because he always wanted Seth to be the one to beat Roman. but the Cody title wave was just too big. He had to ride it. Truly, in my mind, like I think that's why. Like he saw Cody as just a guy that's gonna lose and come up short, and then we'll give him a heavyweight title. He's like I think in Triple H's mind, because Seth is his guy, he always in that story was there that Seth would always be it. And by doing it the way they did it, obviously Cody doesn't win without Seth sacrificing himself. So it's kind of part of it. So they made it work. But I think the beauty of that is it's just extended the story of Roman has always looked at him as a little brother since those Shield days, since Seth put the chair in his back. Like Roman has always like little brothered him. So this is the one situation where I'm okay with him doing it because I know truly someday there will be a moment where little brother gets his comeuppance. I don't think it's that Mania though, because I think this match is all about the third guy that we haven't talked about yet.
So it's funny that you say little brother to him because we hear CM Punk yelling little brother at CM Punk. So he's little brothered in two different directions.
Yeah.
And Seth Rollins,
his two daddies.
His two daddies. I just hit my cat and call them my daddies, you know, That's what he said. But no, it was so mind-boggling to me because CM Punk, you know, like sitting there and saying, so two trains of thought go in my mind. I'm curious where you lie here. So CM Punk, you know, go thumbing through the contract. You're looking for it. And he says, you know, I'm looking for it. And they told him where it was. And then Paul Heyman comes over and gives him a hug and a kiss and tells him, you know, you're going to be closing out the show. You're a WrestleMania main eventer. They get emotional. I assume it's night one.
Yeah.
No one's actually come out and
pretty much
officially said it though. But my two trains of thought were, you can either love that he's a main eventer and that's great for Phil Brooks and he deserves all of that. His dreams come true and all that stuff. But then the other part of me was like, he cuts that promo in AEW about, you know, you can go back and do a pay-per-view WrestleMania extravaganza and get the third night for free and like just shit all over the idea. And there he is on the first night main eventing. Is that like, we've had this conversation that if you're, unless you're the main event in night two, you're not the main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah. But I think this is him realizing like, this is the best I'm going to like, you know what I mean? Cause it's still like, the way I think about it is like that KO Stone Cold thing was like a main event in night one. Right. And that was such a cool thing where it's just like, when KO says he main evented with Stone Cold, I'm like, yeah, you did. So to me, it's just like, yeah, it's obviously we know Cody and Cena is the real true main event of the weekend, but I do think like this counts for CM Punk. And I think it is cool for him. And obviously when you're cutting that promo in AEW, like he's a completely different person from them. You're also working for completely different reasons. So I think it is cool that he gets to check it off because there is a real chance that he doesn't. This is the year he has to do it because between age and whatever else, and you never know what's going to happen next year. Like he might not ever get that chance at night two. So you take that night one chance if you get it, man.
I mean, it's not a bad thing. It was just interesting. The other thing too, I don't know if you noticed this because again, the Detective Nestle hat's on here. When CM Punk leans over to thank Roman Reigns, you see Heyman mouth don't.
Yeah. I'm telling you, this favor is Heyman related. And that's why I love the thing how he ended it being like, oh, and this isn't the favor because Roman you could tell he was basking in it. Like, I did this for you. Here's your favor. Fuck you, bitch. Like, this is all you get. And then when CM Punk said this isn't the favor, you just see Roman's thing. And just like, I was just like, yes. Because it's just like the favor has to be something involved. Like, it has to involve Heyman in some way for me. Because like that to me is where the crux of the CM Punk Roman Reigns like feud is. We obviously, it's easy with Seth and Punk and Seth and Roman. But to me, the tissue for CM Punk and Roman Reigns is Paul Heyman. So
it is going to be interesting to see how we come and shake out of this.
Yes.
Because then it's like we assume Roman Reigns goes back to his island and comes back, you know, right before SummerSlam. So I don't know what's going to happen here. So there could be a nice little run for CM Punk and Heyman sticking together, and then Roman Reigns returns and does the Superman ooh-ah all over us. But I'm just curious because there's so much to unpack here. Is it enough for CM Punk just to main event, or does he have to main event and win?
I think he's winning regardless because to me, I feel like we're going right into whether it's CM Punk Cena, CM Punk Gunther, CM Punk Cody. Like he's a top contender, I think, coming out because like you said, Roman's going to go to his island and Seth hopefully will take some much needed time off, but he never does. So I feel like, but like that guy's always working hurt, I feel like, but he's also going to be fine either way. He's lost plenty of big ones. And I think he's just in this match to be the workhorse because to let the old guy and the, you know, guy who doesn't come around very often not have to do a full match. So I think it makes sense, but yeah, no, I mean, I would be surprised at this point if CM Punk didn't win, because I feel like this is his moment. This is his match. This is all about him. Like, this is his, like, I think final hurrah, I think, as like one of the top guys. I feel like we're entering that territory.
You just sparked something in me that I had a really just terrible hope. And now I have something in my mind that I think I need to talk about. Is something in my hope. So thank you for that. If I can remember what it is when we get to the segment, I'll do it. That problem is I'm sleep deprived, so I can't speak or talk. So we'll see how long I can get through it. Anything else you thought was positive that you want to go through?
What was your favorite match of the week?
There were a lot of fun stuff here. I mean, I'm just raw recent bias. Obviously, I thought there's a lot of good stuff here. I really enjoyed, let me make sure I have the right ones up here. I enjoyed the Braun Penta working together match with Dom and Finn getting the win. I thought that was a nice little match. I thought that was fun. Yeah, we're gonna kind of just piss through everything here.
That was my second favorite of the week. My favorite was from SmackDown. I'm curious.
Obviously, because meat probably, right?
Yeah, no, that was not. I thought that was fine. Obviously, it got broken up by Jacob, but that didn't do a lot for me. I'm talking about the tag team match with your boys, Nestlemania.
Oh,
Profits and Deadly against the hometown Pretty Deadly. I thought this was great because this was the first time we kind of got to see the Street Profits actually work as heels and not get cheered. Because a lot of the times when they've been heelish, they're still like treated like baby faces. But with the crowd being so hot for Pretty Deadly, I'm like, I kind of like this. I hope this trains the audiences to actually hate the Street Profits a little bit, because I like this edgy Street Profits. But I thought this match was a lot of fun.
I did too. When they came out in the UK colors, and the flag, I was so excited. A lot of good falsies here. A lot of good. And I think when the crowd's into it, there's nothing better, and it makes 100%. Every match feel important. Every match feels like a pay-per-view match, so that's why it's always exciting. These overseas crowds, everybody was just bringing it. So I feel like I will say they did a disservice later on when they were taking over the show on SmackDown, but that's beside the point. We can talk about that later. Or was it Monday? One of those matches for the women, they just totally hosed, but that's their own fucking fault. I guess the crowd just wanted to be on TV. But there was a lot of good stuff here. A lot of good stuff.
I'm curious your take, because I was saying that we felt like multi-man match, but it feels like the Profits are just eliminating contenders. And now what we have left is DIY and then the Machine Guns, I feel like, because they've knocked out the others. So
that's still triple threat. It's still a multi-team
I know, but
match.
I'm curious because I think Pretty Deadly is a fun add to that match still, but it's just kind of hard now. Them and Garza have just lost outright, but who knows? We'll see. But the only other thing that I liked is I was excited for how New Day was going to be treated. And then I thought it was a nice twist that the match here was had a returning Tyler Bate with the haircut. Finally, he looked more like his original look. And I was watching this whole match being like, is Pete Dunne going to destroy him at the end of the match? Because Pete Dunne's pretty much been a heel, and Tyler Bate, like, he's a baby face through and through, but they just kind of like let it end. But I thought this was a smart place to at least return him. And I'm curious if they will remain a tag team or if there's some fallout here from the L.
And there's definitely a D or E level story for Monday Night Raw, so I'm sure something will happen here. I was more curious that the New Day won and they're challenging the Viking Raiders, so that seems like a single. Well, I guess it's going to be a one-on-one tag.
Yeah, I think they're getting their shot next, or I think they might get their shot sooner, but I'm assuming if they do, it'll end in like some schmoz. But I'm fine with this being a Mania match, because look at it's like you said, you don't want all multi-man, so it's like, why not have like a singles tag? And I'm like, the New Day's the team you can do that with, because they'll get so much heat. And New Day and the Raiders, I think, will have a banger. So I think we'll be okay with that. Who knows? Maybe we even get a little Big E appearance. Helps
I just don't feel like the tag team division on Raw anyway feels that crowded. So I don't.
Yeah. So these two make
fine.
Sense. Yeah.
You know, like I'm okay with these two teams going forward. I feel like SmackDown has the 5 or 6 tag teams.
Yeah, because like the Creeds and the LWO are kind of involved in the Gable Mysterio feud. Like it's all one thing. So it feels like they don't all need their own matches, because they'll all might be part of this Gaga thing where I think we get I'm assuming a mask versus mask match with Gable and Ray. It feels like it's trending towards. So that really does. That takes out a couple of the main tag teams right there. So
right. Anything else you'd like to talk about that's positive?
We can go to the Heat.
All right. Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. So I feel like I say this every week now, but this Rhea, Io, and Belair thing.
Hate this so much.
I hate this so much.
I feel like most people are really liking this story.
Well, then I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me then.
Because because it's one of those, like, I'm watching it, like, you notice I didn't bring up the shine.
Yeah.
I'm not loving it, but like I think I like the idea of the match, that I'm just like, It's not their best, but I don't think it's their worst. But I'm curious what you hated about it this week.
So this week was more about, I understand, like in my head, I'd already thought to myself, okay, I'm watching this match. One of two things will happen. It's either Belair will do something to fuck over Io, so then Rhea becomes a champion again. You got to do a triple threat there, whatever. Or there's going to be a messy fucking thing, and what ended up happening happened. So whatever. But there's just something about Bianca Belair lately. Like I said, fucking generational talent, athletic, just a freak of nature, athleticism through the fucking roof. But the overall acting, like the eating up scenery, is just too much for me. I'm all for overacting for comedy and for overacting for like certain things. But this just feels like a complete misstep for me when I'm watching it. And she's taking the direction wrong. I don't know what, I can't place it really. So I feel like I'm not doing it justice in explaining myself. But when I'm watching it, it's like I've connected with her as a babyface, and I've always enjoyed her matches as a babyface. But I just feel like when I'm watching her right now, she's in purgatory because Rhea is so over and so beloved, and Io's kind of second, and then it's like
Io's just so respected, especially in these other crowds. But no, I think you 100% hit one on the head, because I think we've kind of talked about this too with her. It's just like, it feels like they're trending towards actually turning her, but they haven't done it. But she's displaying some of that. And it just, not only does like she seem confused, but it's like her character seems confused. I still think some of it's by design, but I also think some of it is that just she's struggling with it a little bit.
She's not comfortable with it.
Well, yeah, it's a hard thing to do in general. And I don't think I think that even like when she's at her best, like the best Bianca is when she's just authentic, herself, emotional, and it's easy. Like she is who she is. But when I think she has to really turn up the character, like I don't think it's one of her strengths. And I think she's such a marketable top star. She's such a, like, you just see her automatic star. She just got so good in the ring. And I think like she is a badass, like when she's feeling it, but when she's asked to do a little more, there definitely is a struggle. And right now, like, I mean, think about how much character she's had to do between the Jade and Naomi stuff and immediately transitioning to this stuff. It's just like they've put a lot on her plate, and like she has struggled for sure, but it's just like it's a lot of different types of things she's had to do too. So, but yeah, no, I think that is like the biggest detractor, because like you said, like Rhea doesn't even have to fucking try. She just goes out there and fucking pretends to lick something, and every fucking person in the crowd, man or woman, is fucking wet in their pants. And then Io just has to fucking do one of her smiles, and everyone's like, "Oh, we love Io, she's great." And so Bianca's like the sore thumb, like sticking out like the sore thumb. Yeah. And it's funny because like she's not a sore thumb, but in this situation, like it's just really like a magnifying glass. So I completely agree with you, that being like, it gives it a little bit of a disconnect, and it seems like overacting, and I don't know what the solution is, but I mean, is there any doubt in your mind though that this triple threat at Mania is going to fucking be awesome?
No, I agree that it's going to be a fucking great match. I would even go as far as saying it's probably going to be one of the matches of the night or the weekend.
So I like it.
But my thought is here, this is going to sound like a little whiny bitch, and I understand that. But I really don't like I've got your money. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like that mentality of like, oh, we've already got their money. They know that match is going to fucking bang at Mania. We don't really have to try. We'll try on these other things that everybody needs to worry about. And for me, that's just not me. Like, if I was in control of that, I would try to make everything matter as much as, and I'm sure they're doing that. Well, I just think they're falling short here. And I feel like both women's title matches to me have underserviced me as a fan in terms of whetting my appetite to getting me there to the finish line. Once I know the match starts, none of this matters. I get that. But in terms of a week-to-week watching basis, I don't give a shit. And I think that's the problem that I'm having, because I feel like every year we have this conversation with a handful of matches where we're just like, oh, don't worry about it. It'll be fine once the bell rings. I don't like that mentality, because to me, it's about the journey. And if you're not taking me on a journey that I can invest in and feel authentic in, I don't believe anything she's doing. There's no authenticity when she speaks or does any overacting here. I just feel like there's a weirdness to it all, because honestly, how is Bianca Belair having a tougher time communicating, whether it's physically or through her words, than Io is? You know what I mean? Like that's
because
it's
Io's
bizarre
not asked to do anything.
No, I understand, but it's just bizarre to me when I'm watching it. I'm like, all she has to do is be like, I'm gonna fucking do this cool move. All right. And everybody's just like, like on paper, these three women are gonna kill it. But in the puzzle piece narrative, it doesn't make sense.
Well, let me put it to you this way, because I think you're 1,000,000% right with all your points about Charlotte and Tiffy. Like, that thing has been mailed in and has not been executed well. It's been a shit show. This one, to me, like, I feel like they are really trying, because week to week, but it's just, I think this one, and I think it's something that you kind of like mentioned a little bit last week. It's, to put it plainly, I think they're running a marathon when all they had to do was sprint, because like we know they're headed to a triple threat, but they've spent weeks and weeks now just dragging it out. So to me, it's like, this is one of those matches where I feel like they're almost trying too hard to force in a storyline, when it's literally like all you had to do is be like, oh, Rhea really wants in this match. Both of these women like are mad at her. It's like it's already, you know what I mean? Like, it's already done, but they just like every week continue to spin a wheel to try to like not make it happen. So to me, like, this one's almost kind of like the opposite feeling, where it's just like they're doing too much here when they didn't have to, and they're just kind of diluting what we really want out of this, which is these three amazing women together, by forcing this storyline and maybe putting people outside their comfort zones and just making it a lot less interesting TV when it didn't have to be.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I swear I'm not dunking on the women, but it feels like it this week. As much as I've said Lyra, I've killed Lyra's momentum in general. But when I watched her promo this week, I went, I don't believe a word she's fucking saying. Like, you want to talk about someone that is amazing in the ring, but the minute that she has to talk, it just feels like I'm watching somebody in community theater. Like, it just doesn't resonate with me, and it just misses. And she hit that promo, I was just like, wow. And again, maybe it was the gummy talking, but I just, in my head, I was watching it, wrote notes down. I'm like, this is terrible. This is beyond terrible to me. And I know that it's the Intercontinental title, the workhorse title, she'll be fine in the wrestling, yada, yada, yada. But in terms of the overall growth of this person, this was a glaring thing for me. And I don't know what they're going to do.
I don't think it was necessarily that it was bad. I just think it was a generic babyface promo that really, it's one of those things. Like, look at Lyra, like, we know her strength isn't this. Like, it's like she can do it. She's done it before. She's fine. But it's like her strength is when she gets out there in front of a crowd, and she's just someone you want to root for. But yeah, no, this was the epitome of a generic babyface promo that had no substance. It was just kind of like there. But yeah, no, it also, like, I'm trying to remember the point there. I feel like they put this, like, I feel like after the Gunther J thing too. So it was just like, it was an ultimate come down in a bad spot. But yeah, no, it definitely wasn't a great thing. I think she's facing Bayley next week. So we'll see what they do at Mania with this. If it sounded like Liv and Raquel are probably going to attack this, and they might not be defending their tag titles unless it's against these two, or if they do a fatal four for the Intercontinental title. It feels like something like that. Like, those four women are going to be involved in some sort of match. We'll probably get that answer next week. But yeah, no, I mean, to me, I didn't necessarily think it was bad. I just thought it was generic as they come, where it was just like, it didn't do anything. That's for sure.
Okay. That's fine. Anything else?
Well, we already kind of said Charlotte and Tiffy thing was terrible. Charlotte, I believe, beat Michin. That might have been the match that you're talking about that got hijacked.
Yeah,
I feel like there were a lot of random chants during that match.
Yeah.
But before that, like, they obviously had the Naomi thing attacking those two, and then Jade made the save, and she had a stare down with Charlotte as she left. So it was just kind of like this stuff kind of all jammed together. I don't know. It just like it feels like the SmackDown Women's division is just that's non-Chelsea Green is just really struggling.
I don't know. I actually like Naomi's promo.
I think Naomi's doing great work.
Yeah.
It's like, and Jade, I think for the most part looks like a badass when she's beating people up, but it's just like they have to make it work together, and they haven't done it yet. They both worked well on their own, but like, we got to, and I feel like just like shoving them in with this other stuff kind of dilutes it, where it's like, I need, like, I don't know. And maybe they're doing it on purpose because they feel like it wouldn't measure up, but I don't know. I feel like they need to do something to exclamation point this feud, because it started off really good with those good things, and Naomi's doing good work, and Jade looks like a badass, but it's like, we gotta bring it together so we're actually excited for this actual match.
I agree. Anything else, or would you like to get hopeful?
Hopeful.
Glorious. You're my only hope. Would you like to go first or second?
Mine's really quick. Do you want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Swerving, baby. My hope's pretty fucking simple. It's an AEW pay-per-view week. Jon Moxley's still the goddamn fucking champion. We don't want that. We throw it out. Doc will understand that reference because he always sends me those TikToks. But yeah, I want Swerve to win the AEW world title at Dynasty for the second straight year because I just need Moxley not to be the champion anymore because he is the drizzling shits. He sucks. He needs to go get some tetanus shots. And Swerve's a stud, and I'm perfectly okay with Swerve being champion again because I thought his first reign was cut a little short by that stupid little goat fuck. So I'm fine with AEW doing a reset here, putting it back on Swerve, who's amazing, and then you have an easy thing with the Double or Nothing in Texas where you can have Hangman win this fucking tournament, and you can do Swerve Hangman for the title. I think this shit writes itself. So hashtag JC knows, hashtag JC's hopes come true, and I'm just going to swerve my way till you're ready.
I'm sorry, I was just adding I forgot that we were adding picks, and then I saw that our boy TJ did 5 out of 6, so I just wanted to add the one that we were missing. So I didn't have to stall when we were doing picks later on in the program. Anyway, I had a really bad hope that I'm so glad I came up with, at least in my opinion, better than the one I had in my head. So here it is. As I was listening to us talk about, you guessed what? Well, there's a lot of things at play here. Here's my hope. A couple of things have to happen for this to this would be like a Nostradamus thing that probably will never happen. But here's what about this, JC, right? Night 1, CM Punk wins, fanfare, all that shit. Everybody's excited. You're like, okay, but we don't know what the hell the favor is still. All right? Gunther, what?
Oh, okay, keep going.
Gunther beats Jey Uso to start night 2. And CM Punk says the favor is that he's owed a world title shot. And there's an impromptu match night 2. And CM Punk beats Gunther and walks out of WrestleMania, a main eventer and the world heavyweight champion on Raw.
I like that. I thought you were going to stick him in a triple threat with Cody and CM.
No.
Because I've seen people thinking that's going to happen. No. I'm just like, that would be so horrible because that match doesn't need it. It would dilute it too much. It's just like it doesn't need it.
Because imagine this, right? Imagine he fucking train wrecks Jay like he does Jimmy.
Like the Sheamus
match. Imagine he just fucking a bloody mess. Fucking carted out the whole fucking deal. Everybody's just in shock. Like they all thought they were going to be yeeted. And then of course, like people are beside themselves. They think it's all over. And then they just hear, and the static happens and they're like, what the fuck? And he was like, I'm cashing in my favor. Like, I think that to me seems like what a fucking weird moment that would be. But if they've been having Gunther and him face on live events and shit. And there's just something about it that like, that seems like sometimes they're testing waters and figuring shit out. I just think that, like, is Jay going to get the title? Probably. It's going to be an amazing moment and a feel-good moment. But you'd have to be out on a limb to try this, right? Like, that takes a lot of balls to be like, no, fuck you, Jey Uso is where he is, and he's going to stay where he is. He's going to be the mascot. And CM Punk's our fucking guy. Like, wow. I think that would be, like, just wow if that happened.
It would be something, that's for sure.
I don't know. There's something about it to me that just screams, like, to me, like, when you look at it this way, right? Main eventing WrestleMania should be the favor. It's not the favor. So that would make you think the favor in theory and reality would be that Heyman's going to corner him and come out with him and whatever. But if it's not, in my head, I'm thinking the reality might be that it has to be greater than main eventing WrestleMania. Well, what's greater than WrestleMania? Becoming champion. Again. And it certainly isn't going to be with Cody. It certainly isn't going to be Cena.
They got to keep him away from that match. That match don't need it.
It has. There is a feeling in my head that I'm like, let him fucking just go for it. Just fucking let's rip it. Let's go. So there you go. That's my hope.
Interesting. Well, I'm gonna go to the comeback Nestlemania, and I'm gonna have a party. Kane and Katana are back, and they're dancing and doing their thing, sticking up for Zelina, as we have the whole short girl society, which I love. Yeah, the Secret Harvest got the win because Piper and Alba are bigger and stronger and badder. But it was nice to see my party girls back on TV. A real tag team who does real tag team moves, and that's why I appreciate them.
That fucking handstand slam thing gets me every time. I'm like, what a fucking pretty looking thing that is. Anyway, I can't believe it. It's true, folks. It's like Sasquatch. I believe in a lot of things. I believe in the Loch Ness Monster. I believe in Sasquatch. I believe in aliens. They're out there. They're real. The Pentagon said so. But there's one more thing that's real, folks. That's Von Wagner. He's got a second chance at life. He showed up being the security in AEW, and I went, holy shit, Cal Bloom. Saw some photos of him getting some workout in ROH taping. And I was like, you know what? He didn't fit in the WWE universe. But by golly, he might be just cut out for the AEW galaxy. That's all I'm gonna say.
He has short-term Don Callis guy written all over.
Oh, I know, doesn't he? Doesn't he seem like the guy? He's like the next generation's Murder Hawk. Like that's what he is. Like the big dude that's just gonna fumble every time. Like, but when I jumped out of my seat when I saw it. I was just like, get on the train, baby. He's got a second chance at life. It might just be because they were in Minnesota and it's a one-off and that whatever. But if not, if he's on my television every week, I'm going to have
Would you watch Ring of Honor if he's on Ring of Honor every week?
Fuck no. I mean, there's no fucking way. You could drag out Danielson. You could drag out Christopher Daniels, Homicide. You could get CM Punk to come back with Samoa Joe. You could have fucking Hulk Hogan get beat up by everybody. I mean, you could anything you'd ever want to see on ROH. I just don't give a shit about ROH. There's no way I would buy an app for wrestling for a show that doesn't have television. No, sorry.
Isn't it on Max now, or is it still on whatever?
No, it's on its own Ring of Honor thing, I think.
That's hilarious.
Fuck that. I'm not paying for shit. No, fuck that. Fuck that. I mean, I love Von Wagner. Just because Come Wednesday.
Well, I guess he's on Ring of Honor. Is that Thursday?
If he shows up tomorrow on Wednesday, by golly, we're starting.
What if he's in the Owen Cup?
Oh,
I doubt it.
No fucking way, because they got a fucking racehorse amount of people fucking going to that thing. Jesus Christ. God damn it. Anyway, yes, I got very excited for a Von Wagner sighting. Doesn't mean it's gonna happen, folks. It's probably not gonna happen, let's be honest. But a girl can dream.
Fired from one company, so why not
a girl can dream, right? That's what I gotta say about that. If it happens.
Girls, we're gonna do the big old finish WrestleMania on SmackDown. You have Naomi versus B-Fab. And then we have Rey Fenix making his debut next week on SmackDown.
Seems like odd placement to me with the Rey Fenix thing here.
I think it's one of those like because I think we expected it to be like the SmackDown after Mania, but I think it's just like they've done the vignettes enough now. It's like let's just throw him out there, let him get a little momentum going in. So I don't hate it. I'm curious who his opponent will be.
But you don't think he'll be in the in WrestleMania though?
You never know. That U.S. title, we don't know what that U.S. title picture is going to look like. It feels like it's going to be Knight, Strowman, and Fatu, which, I mean, poor LA Knight being the fucking cheese in that meat sandwich, but.
Oh, man. I feel like Solo has to do something, too. I don't know.
Probably a quadruple or a fucking.
Imagine if Solo wins the fucking U.S. title. Jesus Christ.
I mean, I'd laugh because it would make you upset, so.
Well, the thing is just Jacob Fatu is you can't deny it.
Yeah, but honestly, that's why you have Solo win because then Jacob can chase him coming out of Mania. There it is, writes itself. On Raw, we have Lyra versus Bayley for the IC title, and we have El Grande Americano is in action.
Totally gonna get the mask taken off, you think, right?
No, I think that they're saying. I feel like it was Ray and El Grande Americano at WrestleMania and mask versus mask. Okay, we'll see. Maybe they do it as a tag match and somehow Gable clones himself.
What a night that would be.
Yeah.
Anything else, or would you like to fucking?
Well, I think unfortunately we have to. There's a show a TV show called Dynasty, which is probably going to be better than this pay-per-view. So we got a preview. We have 6 matches. I expect there to be 3 or 4 added because that's what AEW does. But Nestlemania,
hold on. We are being told that the Owen Hart brackets will be announced tomorrow night. Oh God.
Well, we already know Hangman's in it. We know Jay White's in it. We know other people are in it.
I don't know. It's just there's something about the inconsistency about them showing off these matches. All right, so tomorrow night we've got. You ready for this shit for Wednesday Night Dynamite? Here we go. We've got Jon Moxley and Marina Shafir against Swerve and Willow Nightingale. Whatever. Timeless Tony Storm versus Penelope Ford. The Cope Dope taking on Claudio. And then Will Ospreay returns. So it's just like, here we are.
He's in the Owen thing too, probably. So
Will Ospreay's winning the whole damn thing. So that's like,
no, I think Hangman's gonna win it because the winner is fucking main eventing in Texas again for the world title.
I'm telling you right now, if you think Swerve is winning, you're high.
I hope he wins. I Swerve Hangman main event. Get Moxley off my TV. Piece of shit.
I just feel like Ospreay has to be the one that wins the Owen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nah.
I don't know.
If the winner wasn't main eventing in Texas, I might agree with you, but
okay.
Should we preview this bullshit?
Here we go. Want me to do it, or you got it?
A singles match for the AEW TNT Championship. This match has no time limit and no outside interference is permitted. Daniel Garcia defends against Adam Cole, baby.
I'm all about the boom. I'm going to say Adam Cole,
I feel like
baby.
this has been going for a while, so I feel like it's Adam Cole, baby, because has he even had a singles title in AEW?
Nope.
Well, here it is. He gets the fucking one of the 15 mid-card titles they have. Next up, this match is an absolute piece of shit. Title versus mass match for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Redacted, the current champion, defends against Bandito, who will be maskless if he loses. Give me Bandito, so I don't have to say the other guy's name.
Do you think they would actually make Bandito lose his mask?
No, so give him the title and get that fucking geriatric flabby piece of bag of milk shit off my TV.
So you keep thinking that Ring of Honor is going to have a TV deal. That's the whole reason they gave it to Chris Jericho.
Who?
Redacted, sorry. Yeah. But it seems like if this happens, then Bandito...
I feel like the TV deal is passed. If it's not on Max, it ain't going to be nowhere.
All right, then fine. I'll pick Bandito as well. That's fine.
We'll probably both be wrong. Trios match for the AW World Trios Championship. The Death Riders, who fucking cares, defend against Rated FTR, Cope, Cash Wheeler, and Dax. Dax did not seem thrilled about this, so I think there's going to be more good. I guess the Death Riders will retain.
I mean, yeah, you're probably right about the Death Riders. It's just there's something about this that I really just dislike. I really dislike
Wheeler Yuta.
I've lost respect. I lost respect for Wheeler Yuta, obviously, but Claudio has just become a fucking pencil. He becomes a pencil in my mind. And then fucking Pac, who I fucking love Pac. But Jesus Christ, for a guy who complains so much about being a fucking king of the cruiserweights and fucking just propped up for a whole fucking division, and I didn't want to be Mighty Mouse, to be in fucking the jock rider, like of Death Riders. Like, fuck this. I'm done. Like, I have been done since day one with this shit. I am so done. So sorry. I'm done with it.
Who you picking?
Fucking Death Riders.
Next up, singles match for the AEW Women's World Championship. Timeless Tony Storm with Luther defends against Dom's girl, Megan Bain. Nestlemania. Who you got?
I mean, you got to ride the fucking train, right? You got to ride the fucking...
The Bane train?
No, Timeless Tony Storm, baby.
She just got it back.
She is a motor. She is literally the locomotive right now. She's the best thing going on that program. Why the fuck would you give it to the fucking Pegasus? Like, what are you doing? I mean, she's impressive. Don't get me wrong, but
I am surprised she got hot shotted to this title so fast.
They don't have a division of people
because all the real contenders face Mercedes. The real women's title. But maybe now that Tony has it, they can merge them. That'd be a great feud. Next up, 3-way match for the AEW International Championship. This will probably be the match of the night, I would think. Kenny Omega defends against Ricochet and your boy, the Speedball, Mike Bailey.
I do love me some Mike Bailey, but I am going to say this much. It's Kenny Omega or bust all the way to July. So that's my thought process.
Yeah, he just got it. I would love to pick Ricochet here because he can pin the speedball, but it feels like Omega just got it. He's holding on to that because that'll make him happy. And then we have what is likely the main event, a singles match for the AEW World Championship. Jon Moxley defends his title that we never get to see against Swerve Strickland, who will be with Prince Nana. I will pick Swerve with my hope because fuck Jon Moxley.
I mean, I want him to win. I don't know. There's something about Will Ospreay. Here's the thing, right? Like in my head, can you do Omega and, to me, it's like Omega and what's his name? The fucking Rainmaker. Those two, that's Okada. Those two are gonna have a fucking match to fucking take.
But he's a champion too. He's like continental.
No, they're gonna meld those titles together.
Thank God.
I think that's gonna be one thing they're gonna be doing. So I feel like that's gonna be the headline, even though
of what though?
Of All In.
Yeah, but we're not at All In yet, Wrestlemania. We have Double or Nothing before that.
Doesn't matter. I think
yes, we do. The winner of the Owen Cup faces this person in the main event of Double or Nothing. So you're getting too far ahead of yourself.
Well, I'm just saying Will Ospreay seems to be like, to me, like, look, can Swerve do it? Absolutely. I'd buy it.
Will Ospreay can face Swerve at All In. Or face Hangman at All In, whoever the fucking champion is.
I still think Hangman stops Swerve again, and we're gonna get another Swerve and Hangman match in Texas. And we'll have Moxley versus your boy, Will Ospreay, in the main event.
I don't think so.
And Ospreay's the guy.
No, I don't think he's winning till All In. Why would you have him win before All In?
What are you talking
about? You
about?
can have him win at All In.
What are you talking about?
Ospreay.
Ospreay's winning the Owen.
Yeah, and the winner of the Owen faces at Double or Nothing in Texas. Not All In.
Are you sure?
That's what I've been trying to tell you this whole time. That's why Hangman's going to win.
He looked at the fucking banner and was like, yeah, I got to win the Owen.
Yeah, because he wants to win it and so he can defend it at All In.
That's
the winner of the Owen gets the match at Double or Nothing in Texas.
I'm still picking Moxley. I don't know.
Yeah, he'll probably win, but fuck him.
Well, hopefully you're right and Swerve wins, and then there you go.
Yeah, because it's Swerve's pay-per-view, They're getting undefeated at Dynasty,
Who gives a shit?
I do, because it means Moxley won't be the fucking fake champion anymore.
Okay. Great.
What have you been thinking about this MJF with MVP stuff?
It's something.
Have your peepers popped? It has my peepers popped.
I mean, if they're not going to go the route of getting him Hammerstone or, our boy Richard Holiday and getting the marketing department back together, or the big business, whatever they were, I guess this is okay. I don't really see the connective tissue here. Like, I don't buy the
MVP and him were close when MVP was coming up. Like,
I just don't buy the relationship at all. But whatever, it's fine.
They told the story though. It made sense in the first promo. MJF with other people never works, but I don't mind the short-term thing, especially while Bobby and Shelton are the tag champs, because that means that Bobby's not going for a world title. So I think it kind of leaves it open. But it at least has me interested. I'm assuming something's going to happen. And who knows, maybe this is the way MJF gets his own faction by going against these guys or something. But it at least has me interested right now. Cause when MJF isn't in a top feud, I like him to be involved in stuff like this because he is a true character that it gives me a reason to watch every week, like the television show. He at least adds to that because everything he does is interesting. So having something like this is something that I can at least bite into when most of AEW I can't bite into because it's just nonstop fucking matches that nobody fucking cares about.
Okay. I just don't visually they don't make sense to me.
Yeah, I know. And I think that's why it intrigues me.
Okay. That's fine. Anything else? You want to get the fuck out of here?
Yeah, we can get out of here.
All right. On that note, thank you for listening and watching the Jobber Knocker podcast. We'll be back next week with some more Jobber Knockery.